Hello, Kansans. Doug Billings here, your favorite candidate for governor in the state of Kansas, your political outsider, populist candidate. Today, speaking directly to the true conservative Republicans out there, because this is the moment we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Time to declare your support for me right now during the primary election season. We have got to root out the RINOs and the elected class who have clung to power for decades, for too long, only talking about improving things when election season rolls around, and we're not going to take. Let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen. Saying things like, well, wait a minute, Doug, I want to wait and see who wins the primary before I offer my support. That's a tactical mistake, my friends, with all due respect. I know that it's a natural inclination. I want to see who gets through the primary. Well, the primary is the most important part of the election process because it's exactly there and here where we eliminate the RINOs and the elected class. Waiting for the primary to finish without participating in it is a tactical error. Every candidate with a shot of winning this thing, except for me, is entrenched in the elected class, the establishment, folks. We need a true outsider, me, to turn Kansas around. A member of corporate America who negotiated multi-billion-dollar deals in Europe and in the United States. The art of the deal, remember that? It's me. I can do that. That's what I did. Look at what's happening in counties throughout the state, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrannical county commissioners going against the will of the people, in most cases, raising property taxes on citizens, adding millions of dollars of burden to family, farmers, ranchers, and small business owners. Blaming the state or the federal government all along the way, they just keep on raising your taxes. They don't ever take responsibility themselves. Those days will be over when I'm sworn in as governor of Kansas. This part of the trend, in Kansas at least, and I'm sure that if you're watching this in other parts of the Republic, it's true where you live too. We're seeing property taxes soaring, greater than 5% some quarters, some years. Much faster than the growth rate, much faster than inflation. The average Kansan pays about $2,536 in property tax a year. That's crushing, folks, to a family. It's crushing to the American dream. This is not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. I'm going to take the case, and I'm going to make the case that property taxes are unconstitutional. No other candidate will have the guts to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, well, how are you going to do that, Doug? How are they unconstitutional exactly? It seems to me there might be precedent in the courts where the government has permission, if you will, to tax us. Well, folks, let's think it through. I will take that fight, because I think that property taxes prevent us from our most basic right, the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Now, the cynics will laugh at that. They'll think it's ridiculous. Members of the elected class and the establishment will laugh at that and think it's ridiculous. Not me, and I will wager to say not you either, ladies and gentlemen. Property tax is a way that the government forces us to rent our paid-for property from the state. This steals away from us the American dream itself. It steals away from us property ownership, home ownership, business ownership, farm or ranch ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, the American dream is not for rent in Kansas. My first campaign pillar will be to identify these things and to, by the way, start a task force that will look into election integrity. Why the segue to election integrity? Because if we don't trust and have proof that our elections are valid, then nothing else that we care about matters. Just like President Trump, I'm going to advocate the elimination of the electronic voting machines and return to what the Founding Fathers intended, paper ballots. We're going to use watermarked paper ballots in Kansas. At least that's what I'm going to advocate for. Work with the legislature to get laws passed that will accomplish just that. Second, I'm going to fight to eliminate those property taxes. You better believe it. I'm going to fight to keep your hard-earned money in your pockets so that you can actually own property in this state. And I'm going to do that with my KDOGE initiative, the Kansas Department of Government Efficiency, where we are going to find multiple billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and redundancy in the state, and I'm going to advocate that we use that money to return to you so that we can eliminate not just the state portion, but the county portion of property taxes in Kansas. My third pillar is to end child and human trafficking. Ladies and gentlemen, it happens in every zip code in this country, and it happens in every zip code in Kansas. Most people are deaf and dumb to that issue. But I'm going to wake them up to it because it's a horror, and we must save the children. It is a stain on our state. I'm going to declare war on it, be very aggressive. I will order, through an executive order, the Kansas Highway Patrol and the Kansas National Guard to hunt down the monsters responsible for child and human trafficking. As conservatives, we've got to protect the vulnerable. Fourth, I'm going to improve education. Kansas ranks 29th nationally. There are currently 150,000 kids in Kansas who can't read proficiently. Well, that's unacceptable. It won't stand. It's precisely because of the liberal policies and practices that have been in place for the last 8 years. I'm going to bring practical conservative reforms to our classrooms. One of the remedies for this is to take away curriculum decisions from Topeka, Kansas, and the Kansas Department of Education. Folks, I have a master's degree in curriculum instruction. By the way, if you're from Lawrence, Kansas, that means education. Thank you very much. I know what school curriculums should look like. I know what the Founding Fathers intended. Their template has been erased, and they've tried to eliminate it. But the Founding Fathers' template for curriculums in schools includes arithmetic, geography, civics, in addition to pure history, right? Sciences, the arts, physical fitness and training, brought back by President Trump this year. Philosophy, ladies and gentlemen, to create critical thinkers, because we haven't done that for the last several generations. Theology, Christian-based, as intended by the founders. And Latin, the language of science and theology, back into the school curriculums to create critical thinkers and well-rounded kids, to teach them how to read and write for once. I'm going to teach them how to read and write cursive again, ladies and gentlemen, so they can actually read our founding documents. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 gubernatorial race was decided by a razor-thin 2.2% margin. Every vote counts. And every day that we delay in making up our minds to support me, the conservative populist outsider, is a day that the RINOs and the elected class can tighten their grip on power. They've been in office for decades. They only talk about change and things they can do when election season rolls around. I'm different. That's why my fifth pillar is to drive economic growth and prosperity by cutting regulations and prioritizing Kansas farmers, ranchers. I'm gonna get rid of the foreign land grabs that threaten farmers and ranchers. There will be no foreign government or company that will be able to buy any Kansas land, no matter where that land is located. Waiting to see who wins the primary hands the victory to the same old crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, all of the candidates who have a chance to win this thing outside of myself are members of the elected class swamp. And they've failed us in many ways. What do you have to lose other than to vote for an outsider for once in the history of Kansas? I'm the outsider. I'm the determined patriot. I'm ready to fight for you. Look what they've tried to throw at me this month. The smear campaigns and the tactics, not working. There is no skeleton in my closet that they can exploit, ladies and gentlemen. I will not let them. Delaying your support now sends a message that we're done with stagnation. If you declare your support now, you will send that message throughout the state, because we're going to build a Kansas where the pursuit of liberty, life, and happiness, and the American dream aren't for rent. Folks, they are our birthright. So true conservative Republicans out there, join me. Visit my website, DougBillingsForKansas.com. Doug Billings, F-O-R, Kansas, DougBillingsForKansas.com. Learn more. Declare your support over there. Donate to the campaign. Together, we're going to root out these RINOs. We're going to break the elected class's hold on power, ladies and gentlemen, and we will make Kansas great again with less politics and more leadership. We're in this thing together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. For the Republic. For Kansas. Cheers.